thegearnetwork.com.
The following is a presentation of the Gear Radio Network.
Look, you want the truth? Okay, then listen in. My first lick was
This is the Listen In Podcast with your hosts, John Cimino and Brandon Gorell, here on the Gear Radio Network.
Oh, here we are, ladies and gentlemen, Studio B. We are both in Studio B for once.
Yeah.
Person to person here. The Listen In Podcast is on the air. How's it going, my babies? We are on the air on Spreaker, Apple Podcasts, Google Play Music, iHeartRadio, Spotify, wherever fine podcasts can be heard. AllNewRadio.com app. You can hear us on there. My name is John Cimino. I am JC Money. Joined in studio by the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Brandon Gorell. Say hello, Brandon.
Hey there.
All right. And on today's show, ladies and gentlemen, we're strictly talking football. Our sister podcast, the BLT podcast, did a big number on the MLB talk. I would have. Yeah, it's crazy. They did a whole bunch. Go listen to that podcast. But on today's show, Music City or Upset City? Are the Titans a team of destiny? Houston blew a 24-0 lead. The AFC title game is now at Arrowhead.
Just a point short of the Falcons.
We will talk a little about that. And the NFC title game is set. Green Bay at San Fran. And Brandon, we are one step closer, not only to your team being representing the NFC, but my dream Super Bowl I rematch. So we'll go ahead, and I'm going to turn the music down here. And
I wonder if Pat Mahomes is going to be smoking in the locker room at halftime.
No.
Smoking a cigarette, drinking a Coke.
Oh, good old Pat Mahomes, or is he channeling his Pat Summerall?
No, I'm talking about, what was it, Len Dawson that was sitting in the locker room? They have that photo of him.
Oh, yeah.
He's sitting there with a cigarette in his hand,
Burning
just in the locker room.
those are the days, man. Those
fitness on those guys.
Those guys, I'll tell you what, they were double tough, though.
Yeah, they were.
But anyways, Brandon, what the hell's been going on?
They don't make them like they used to.
No, they don't. They do not. What's been going on with you, my man?
Not much, man. Just enjoying this playoff run. Green Bay Packers. Pretty happy. Happy.
Very good.
I saw the return of the bad man in that game.
The bad man.
Yeah, he'd had a lot of games where he's just off, just missing throws. And this game, he hit those throws.
Yes.
The touch was there. He was putting them in perfect spots. He just looked really good. I'm really excited for this rematch because I know they weren't happy about that ass whipping they took against the 49ers. I know they came out flat coming off the bye week. I just think that things are going to be a lot different this time.
Yeah, definitely. I would like to see a different result this time, obviously.
Me too.
Because I am Gear Network's version of Chris Berman here. But let's go and let's talk about the yes, thank you. Divisional weekend talk here, Brandon. We're going to start with our thoughts on the Titans and Ravens, the upset of the playoffs. Tennessee over Baltimore 28-12. So I asked Brandon, because Lamar Jackson did not start in week 17, so he had 2 weeks off, but as a whole for the Baltimore Ravens,
Technically 3.
He didn't play week 16?
Well, he played week 16, but he got all the week off after that. And then he got all the week off on the bye week, and then he was off all week until the game.
Okay.
He hadn't thrown a football pretty much, in a competitive place for almost 3 weeks.
So did all that time off not only hinder Lamar Jackson, but did it hinder Baltimore?
No. And I'll tell you why. Baltimore, they came out a little flat. Their game plan was to get, Jackson moving and involved early. I think what they should have done was he's coming into his kind of his revenge game after his poor showing last year. Kind of like, okay, here it is. I'm going to come out. I'm going to do all this. And he's got 3 weeks to think about it. He's going to come out fired up. Mm-hmm. So in those situations, you wanted to start with some runs, and you want to start with some safe, easy, quick passes, quick hitters to get you in the flow of the game. They did not do that. The run got stopped pretty quick, and then he's throwing the ball down the field. And when you're amped up, not a good place to be doing that.
No, definitely not.
He did, and he threw it, and it hit off of Andrews' hands because it was way too high, and ended up being an interception. And I questioned some of the play calling too. That fourth down play, the play at midfield. It was just about midfield. They go for the sneak, and Jackson decides not to go straight ahead. He kind of shifts off to the side, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh shit, there's people there. And it was, next play, Tannehill's throwing it down this field for almost 3/4 of his production for the game on one pass.
Right, yes.
And
he's not thrown over 100. He's not thrown over 100 yards at all.
For 77 and 83.
88.
Sorry. 73 and 88. That's the numbers. I get him flip-flop. But
that's all right.
He's just not like he's 2019, 2020's Trent Dilfer.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just don't lose the game. Like, hand the ball to Henry. He's going to get tennis elbow handing that ball off so much.
Oh, yeah.
Henry is just
30 carries, Brandon, 195 yards. No touchdowns rushing, but I believe he did have a passing touchdown here.
He did have a passing touchdown.
One 3 yards passing touchdown there. So
yeah. What is that rating, by the way? Is that like 102?
Whose? Derrick Henry's?
His passer rating.
158.3.
Perfect.
That's a perfect game,
Perfect
buddy.
rating.
I sit here and I look at this and I honestly think the Ravens, they're a very young team.
Yeah.
And I think
it was a bad night.
It was a bad night in the office, and they got they got the jitters. They had that 14-2 record.
Yeah.
They had that home field advantage.
It's hard to be the lead dog like that.
For all the gripe about Brady Belichick and all that stuff during the time, I mean, they've had the experience, so they know how to play in those situations. The Sheriff, Peyton Manning, when he was in Indianapolis and when he was in Denver, the same thing. He knew how to play in those pressure situations. I see Baltimore as this was just their inexperience, their youth and inexperience, and being in that position for the first time in God knows how long somebody other than New England was in this position.
Yeah.
And so I think as fans got spoiled to seeing that, expecting the number 1 seed to pretty much just go through and do whatever because of the experience.
It's not even the 1 seed. It's the fact that they have been the most complete team all season. Defensively, they've been strong. Great run game. The passing game was there. Like, special teams was good. Like, they had it all. They have one of the best kickers in the league. It was a bad night. Like, Lamar Jackson put up numbers. I mean, threw for over 300 yards. He rushed for over 140 yards. I mean, you see those numbers, you think, okay, yeah, he's going to win. But it was the 2 picks and the fumble, the 4th down call, the 4th and goal when they try to sneak, try to go for it on 4th and goal, and they don't get that either. I also think they were really hampered by the fact that Mark Ingram was hurt.
Yes.
That was a big deal. I mean, he tried to gut it out to begin with, and then all of a sudden he disappeared, and then you see him with this giant wrap on his leg, and he's got that jackhammer massager going across the calf.
Yes.
It didn't do anything, and he just, he wasn't there, and it took away that dynamic, so it was like, okay, we're going to make you one-dimensional now. You're going to either have to run it yourself, or you're going to have to pass it. And we're going to give up those plays. Mm-hmm. But when it starts getting in towards, scoring places, we're going to tighten up. And that's what they did.
Yeah.
And not to be cheesy and they got a little catchphrase, tighten up. That's not what I meant. I didn't mean tighten up. I meant like tighten.
Not like Archie Bell and the Drells. Tighten up.
No, tighten. Like,
that was a good song,
Tighten your wallet or...
All right, moving on from that, let's go over to the Vikings and 49ers. We don't really need to spend a whole lot of time on this one. San Fran over Minnesota, 27-10. San Francisco, Brandon, their 147 yards allowed are the fewest allowed in a playoff game in the Super Bowl era. That's not bad.
He didn't like that.
He did not like that.
Kirk didn't like that.
No, not at all.
It looked like it was going to be a game for a while.
It did.
It was a game for a while, and then the 49ers just started running all over him. I mean, Jimmy G didn't have a good game.
No, he didn't.
He didn't look good at all. He has that game this week. They're dead.
Garoppolo, 11 for 19, 131 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, a 74.7 passer rating. Yeah. Again, it's one thing being on that New England team as a backup, watching Tom Brady doing it. It's a whole other thing being on that side over there.
Minnesota's front was good, but their secondary was really banged up, and I thought that was going to, like Kittle was going to eat them up, and they couldn't get anything going really with the pass game. But the run game was doing so well, so they just kept sticking with that and just ran it down their throats and ate the clock up because I felt like maybe they thought they didn't have it that day and keep the ball away from Minnesota, and they did. I mean, the interception Cousins threw was inexplicable. I mean, he threw it right to Sherman.
Right.
And I was like, oh, Sherman's the greatest in the game. Dude,
Yeah.
I could have caught that with my eyes closed.
Yeah.
Like, it hit him directly in the chest. He almost dropped it. It was so close to him.
I remember after it happened, I just looked at that play, and then and I heard the
like,
commentator
Kirk
say
Cousins,
whatever,
you suck.
and next thing I know, I hear, and I look at my phone, and it's you with, I could have caught that goddamn pass.
Yeah, seriously, they were like making this big deal, like, oh wow, dude, he threw it like 3 feet wide, like Thielen's like, what the fuck was that? Like, he's confused that the ball was even coming to him. For one, it's because he was under pressure. Anytime Kirk Cousins gets under pressure, he shits his pants and he just chucks the ball up, or he takes a sack. He is not a good under pressure quarterback, and he showed it this week. So we can move on from that game because it was just garbage.
Well, one point to make as we move off of that game, but to your point about the rushing that the San Francisco 49ers did, they had 47 rush attempts. That's the most in a playoff game in San Francisco 49er team history, and they've been to a lot of them. So that's
and a lot of good quarterbacks, though.
It's at least saying something.
And
yes.
decent running backs.
They did too.
Roger Craig, Ricky Waters, Tom Rathman.
Good old Ricky Waters. I remember him. So here is the game. That Atlanta Falcons, the Atlanta Falcons fans are like, oh, thank God this happened. The Texans and the Chiefs,
Still not the same, though.
Kansas City 51, Houston 31. Brandon, Houston led 24-0 at one point. Kansas City, to their credit, scoring 51 points by the end of the game. I think it was 41 unanswered before Houston scored again. Is the most points in a playoff game in franchise history. And Deshaun Watson, the only quarterback in NFL history to lose a playoff game despite having 300-plus pass yards, 3-plus total touchdowns, and 0 giveaways. Brandon, is Houston good enough to advance, or do they really need to get rid of Bill O'Brien?
I can't even put this one on Bill O'Brien. I mean, there were some questionable calls, but, Bill O'Brien was good enough to get him to beat Buffalo, to come back and beat Buffalo. He was also good enough to get a 24-0 lead on the road against the Chiefs. What happened was a series of unforced errors by their team. And also, I mean, O'Brien has, a hand in it too. I mean, obviously, going for a fake punt up 24-7 in your own territory, probably not the smartest play. It looked like it was going to make it, and it would have looked genius if he did make it. But, that and, they're up 21-0, and they're in scoring range, and pretty manageable fourth down. Why not go for it there? You go for it on, the fake punt, but you're in their area, their side of the field. You lose it. But if not, you can go up 28-0.
Right.
I think a 28-0 lead is a lot different than a 24-0 lead.
Yeah,
it's 4 touchdowns.
Yes.
And 4 touchdowns and extra points just to tie.
Right.
But, there was that, and it was just a series of unforced errors, and sometimes when you get up with that lead, you tend to relax a little bit. You aren't as aggressive on defense. You're not as, aggressive on your play calling with passing, and you start to hand the ball off a little more, and you think, we're going to run some clock. You can't run clock in the first half. Like, you still have a whole game. Keep going.
Yes.
Keep doing what you were doing. And they weren't. They just would not do it. And everything that could have gone wrong for KC did. Mm-hmm. And to their credit, they did not hang their head. Mahomes was still over there firing them up. Andy Reid sat down and talked to people individually. And Pat Mahomes did what Pat Mahomes does. And he had a huge second quarter. It was the second time this season he'd throw over 4 touchdowns in the second quarter.
A quarterback comparison. I mean, this you know, when you look about if you're watching the game,
You feel bad for Watson.
right? Yeah, you do.
Because the defense, like, where were you guys?
Exactly. If you were watching this game to watch the quarterbacks, you were in for a treat. Watson had 388 pass yards, 3 total touchdowns, no interceptions, 37 rush yards. Future Hall of Famer Patrick Mahomes, 321 pass yards, 5 total touchdowns, no interceptions, 53 rushing yards. This was honestly, this was a hell of a game. It was a hell of a game to watch. It was the game that, you know, I said last week I was looking to watch, and now I'm watching you laugh. See, this is the brilliant part about being live and in person here is that we can
I can't say this one on air. It's horrible.
Why can't you say it on air?
Oh, Russ sent it to me.
Oh, okay, you can't say it on air, but
Urban
you can show
Dictionary.
Oh,
It's called a Rochester Reuben.
okay.
Just can't do it.
Okay, show me on the commercial break.
I'll show you.
Which will come after the thoughts on Brandon, the Seahawks, and your Green Bay Packers. Green Bay 28, Seattle 23. Devontae Adams, Brandon, has the most receiving yards by a Green Bay wide receiver in the Super Bowl era. And Aaron Rodgers moves to 9-1, Brandon, in his playoff career. 9-1. I say that with emphasis because that's a lot. In his playoff career, when leading by 10 or more points, the only loss, the one in that 9-1, came in 2014 to Seattle.
Yeah,
and
the blown onside kick and the stupid fucking overtime rules. Never got the ball in overtime.
Yep. Now,
defense shit the bed. Good night now.
This is, and this can also continued the trend. The trend being that the home team has won each of the last 4 playoff matchups between the Seahawks and the Packers.
One of my favorites.
Brandon, your thoughts on this game as a whole?
It was a complete effort. I would have liked to have seen him score more points.
The reason why I'm going back to you, not to cut you off here, the reason why I'm going to you to this is because I was taken out of the game a little bit.
Yeah, you were. I was. Full.
I'm sure you were in full. Mode here, and which I will be
actually watching. My daughter was asking like real football questions, not like just staring off into space or taking off to a room. Like everybody was engaged in the game, which was kind of cool.
That's awesome.
But you know they played well on offense. I still would have liked to have seen them be a little more aggressive on offense. But they made the plays they needed to play to win. Russell Wilson is always going to get his. You're not going to shut Russell Wilson out on a day where he still has it. He's had games, especially against Green Bay, where he's just not had it. I mean, he threw 5 interceptions against Green Bay one time, when Green Bay wasn't even that good of a team, but it was in Lambeau and he just really struggled there. It looked like it was going to be a blowout, but I did not believe it was going to be because I was like, Seattle's getting the ball at the half, and you know they had moved the ball pretty well towards the end of the half. Went for the field goal, missed. I was doing my little Beavis and Butthead miss, and I was doing it at the screen, and then he did it, and he missed, and both my kids were amazed that it worked. But once Wilson got going, I was like, oh shit. So then it got there, but then Rodgers answered back. Got him down the field, got another touchdown, and grew the lead again. And then, you know, Russell Wilson's doing what Russell Wilson doing. And Russell Wilson was under siege all night, and I really liked the pass rush by Green Bay. I mean, they were all over him all night, so he had to run for his life. And there were some of these plays that he completed that I have no idea how he did. I mean, he was surrounded, and he just kind of chucks it up. And it lands in a receiver's hand. The guy gets 15, 17 yards out of it just about every time. So some of it was luck, but you know it's Russell Wilson, and he is tough to get.
He is. I'm a fan of Russell Wilson.
He's a gamer.
I like.
Yeah,
him.
he's a winner. He never believes that he's out of a game, and he plays like he's going to win every single game. And then came the final drive where you know he got sacked and they had to punt. But they figured we got 3.5 minutes and all of our timeouts left, plus a 2-minute warning. You know, we'll stop them and get the ball back. And Rodgers did what he needed to do. You know, you can say all day, well, I think Jimmy Graham was short. Well, even if he was short, 4th and inches within that area, probably going to go for it, probably going to get it. I mean, Rodgers isn't going to sneak it. Rodgers has already snuck twice that game, gotten first downs out of it very easily. So either way, the pass he made to Adams, and it's not even just the pass, it was the change of the play at the line.
Right.
He looked over at Adams, just gave him a point to the head. Adams gave him a nod. Adams knew, I'm going with a double move. He ran the double move, and in the middle of his second move, the ball was already heading to where it had to go. And it landed right between two defenders, right into Adams' hand in stride, gets the first down. Clock keeps moving. And then, he's getting sacked. It looks like he's getting sacked, and he sidearms it off to Jimmy Graham. And Jimmy Graham fights forward, gets, they say first down yardage. I thought he was a little short myself. But, what are they going to do? The yellow line's not official, and there was the pylon, like the yardstick marker cam.
Mm-hmm.
The actual pointer of the yardstick marker was actually in front of the yellow line. So the yellow line was further back than it should have been on TV, because they did show a side angle where it was directly from the yardstick, and you can see the yard marker, and you can see where Graham landed, and his elbow is right at the marker. Mm-hmm. So they may have been right, and that's when I think that was the additional footage that they called. When they said, so they went and reviewed it.
Okay.
Came back, Clete Blakeman, comes back, and he's like, after review, the call on the field stands. Everyone goes crazy, and then they all of a sudden get called back in the headset.
Okay, I did hear about that.
And then he goes and he says, after further review with new additional footage we were given, the call on the field still stands. So I think they got that sideline footage where the actual pylon was, or not the pylon, the yard marker, and the yard marker on the field. You can see it. The yellow line on TV was much further ahead of it. I mean, it was to the left of the orange marker. Mm-hmm. So that's further up. You can see why people were like, that wasn't even close to the yellow marker. Well, the yellow marker is not official.
It's not official.
Always say that. And where he landed was right on where it was supposed to be. So I think they got it right in the end. But that was it. I mean, then they got to... it was funny to watch, too, because sometimes you catch those moments... And I've seen a couple of them, and a couple of them against the Packers, and they were really great. They involve legends. Mm-hmm. So if you remember the one where Brady and Rodgers were dueling back and forth during that regular season game,
yes,
and it was like come down to who had the ball last.
Yes. And
they had a 3rd and long, and Brady's warming up on the sideline. He's getting ready to go back in there, and Rodgers completes like an impossible pass. Mm-hmm. And he gets a first down, and then they show Brady in slow motion going, fuck! And he's like slamming shit because he's so mad because he wants to get back out there. And he's super competitive. And then the other night when he made that pass to Devontae Adams, that perfect pass, you just saw Wilson just go like, you gotta be kidding me. Come on. Like he was ready to go back in there. He was already warming up. He just put the ball down, just kind of looked to the side, and he just shook his head. Like, you get those when you're playing against great quarterbacks and great players, and they make those plays. You hope with all your hope, especially when you're a competitor like a Wilson or a Brady, who are also great in their own right and who've done that and caused that look on other sidelines.
Right.
To see it happen to them, it's just like, all right, game recognizes game.
Mm-hmm.
That was a great fucking pass, and I can't admit it because now it just ended my season.
Yeah.
It's one of those moments.
How do you think Jimmy Graham felt?
Jimmy Graham felt pretty good.
I'm sure he did.
Jimmy Graham had some big catches that game. He had some big catches for first downs. When Rodgers was in trouble, he was able to get him to an outlet. It was pretty big for him.
Sometimes you just
guys got to step up.
You get a guy. Just because a guy's a good player doesn't mean that he's a good player on a certain team, and that was the case with Graham in Seattle. And
he's not been really good in Green Bay either.
But he's been he's good enough. But
he delivered this week, and we were happy to see it. But I gotta say, the Smith brothers, though, guys are awesome. I mean, they both had equal stats. They both had 4 quarterback hits. They both had 2 sacks each. And they had, I think it was 5 quarterback pressures or whatever it was. The guys are just, especially Za'Darius.
Probably competing with each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, but.
So, I mean, they're just fun to watch. They have a good relationship. They're really funny when they do their post games together. Mm-hmm. And I look at this game and I go, Russell Wilson was running for his life. Russell Wilson can escape from that. If they bring this pass rush against Jimmy G, that dude's a sitting duck.
Yeah.
He ain't running like
Yeah.
Russell Wilson.
We're
We're going to give him the Clay Matthews and say, you ain't no Russell Wilson, bro.
That's right.
Because that's what makes me excited, because that defense wasn't there. I'm hoping that defense shows this Sunday.
Well, I will tell you this. I am looking very, very much forward to Championship Sunday. I will
be a great day.
I will be home, and
I will be too.
I will be making my dip again. I will be making.
I made some this weekend.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
My girlfriend was tearing up.
You use
too spicy.
But you use ranch, don't you? In yours, or
Yes, I use ranch and cream cheese.
cream? Oh, cream. Yeah, I use cream
I
cheese.
use Philly cream cheese, ranch, whole bottle of Frank's Red Hot,
Oh yeah.
and like a whole bag of shredded cheese.
Yeah, I did.
And like grated chicken.
I did the cream cheese and blue cheese because I thought I grabbed. I thought I grabbed
blue
ranch.
cheese.
I thought I grabbed ranch and
You grab blue cheese.
No. I did Instacart.
Oh.
And apparently I didn't grab it in there or whatever. I don't know. So, whatever. I'll try that next
I
time.
hate blue cheese. I can't.
Oh, I love it. I love it with my chicken wings, man. Love it. Anyways. All right. Well, on that note,
I know that's an upstate sin for me not to like it. But
at least it's not mayonnaise. And on that note, my friend, we are going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back on the other side, we'll talk about the championship round a little more, give our predictions, and whatnot.
What's up, Rock Soldiers? This is Robbie Vegas coming at you from the All Bets Are Off podcast. If you are into horror movies, the paranormal, professional wrestling, or music, this is the place for you. We're bringing you the latest and greatest interviews in all of the above: music, horror, and of course, professional wrestling. So tune in on the Gear Network. Check out All Bets Are Off. Rate us, like us, subscribe to us, leave us your comments, tell us what you think. And we'll catch you soon on the All Bets Are Off podcast, dropping every Sunday at noon.
And welcome back.
oh, that was weird.
Yes. Thanks for listening in to us here on the Listen In podcast, the Gear Radio Network. By the way, Eric Wolf, the former Eric Emenon, was supposed to join us on the podcast. Unfortunately, his kids were sick. He's probably going to join us within the next week or two or whatever. Which, by the way, just to give an advanced preview here, next week's podcast will go over the title game recap, conference title game recaps. It'll probably be a quicker podcast because it's the Pro Bowl and nobody gives a shit about the Pro Bowl. But then in 2 weeks, my babies, the Super Bowl prediction cast. That's right, the Listen In Super Bowl prediction cast. It's going to feature guest predictions from other podcasters and friends of mine. So it's going to be a nice supersized podcast. That's what I'm going for. Going to get BLTD in on it, Eric on it, probably some of the guys in the 2 Point Conversation maybe. See if they're interested in it. So it'll be fun. But for now, we have our normal playoff prediction talk. And of course, Brandon, it is down to the Final Four. Now, we all know who I'm picking. We all know who you're picking for at least one of the games, but I'm going to say anyways, at 3:05 on CBS, the Titans and the Chiefs at Arrowhead. Brandon, who you got? The Titans are riding some kind of wave, but will it stop at Arrowhead?
Yeah, it's going to stop at Arrowhead because they can't keep up. They will not be able to score enough.
Kansas City, very high-powered.
I just don't think. Like, Derrick Henry's going to get his, but I just don't think Ryan Tannehill's going to be able to do enough to keep up with Pat Mahomes, and that's what's going to have to happen.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mahomes learned from the year before. You know, it was a tough loss. He didn't even get to see the ball in overtime, a lot like Rodgers did in that championship game against the Seahawks. But it was fuel. Mm-hmm. And then they got down this week, and now a huge comeback against a good Texans team. He's riding high right now, and I don't see him stopping till he gets to the finish line.
Yeah.
Like, they're going to the Super Bowl. I can't see it unless he gets hurt.
Right.
I cannot see a scenario where Kansas City loses this game. I just can't.
I can't, nor do I want to. No offense to my buddy Super Beast, who I've been tightening it up with you, buddy. Been tightening it up with you, and all of Titans Nation or whatever. At least one game. I was kind of going for the Bills, but whatever. Anyways, I'm not going to do it this week. I'm sorry. Future Hall of Famer Patrick Mahomes is that for a reason, and the Chiefs are good. I think it is their time to shine in the biggest stage, so I'm taking the Chiefs, not for my own selfish reasons, but for the obvious ones. Brandon, Packers 49ers, 640 at Fox. We know you have the Packers. Why? Besides the fact that they're your team.
I just think that they're going to learn from what they did. They came out, I think, too timid and too respectful of what San Francisco had been doing at that point. I think that they learned from that situation. I think they've played better football since that beating. And this team, I think they'll keep it close. And I think they're 9-1 in one-score games this year.
Right.
Their one loss was against Philadelphia, and that was when Adams got hurt, and they just didn't have anybody to throw to in that fourth quarter. So,
yes.
It was the other 9. I mean, they find ways to win. I think the defense is going to be fired up. I think they're going to get after Garoppolo. I think they'll do enough to slow down the run game to make it fall on Jimmy G. Mm-hmm. And I just don't. I think that Rodgers will overcome the experience of Rodgers will trump what's going on.
I wonder
with
what
the
the weather's going to be like for Santa Clara. Let me find out here.
It's supposed to be nice, I think.
Hold on. What's the weather going to be like for Santa Clara on Sunday's football game?
Some bad weather coming up on Sunday. Down to 18 degrees and snowing.
That's us.
That's us, stupid. Siri.
You have to edit that out.
Siri's no, I'm not going to edit it out. It's fucking live. It's all the way live.
Siri's stupid.
Siri's stupid. Anyways, whatever.
That British Siri, that's why.
No. It's a Scottish Siri.
Scottish?
Yeah. Or Irish, rather. Irish. I wanted her to sound like Becky Lynch.
Like Irish.
I wanted her to sound like Becky Lynch.
Fucking stupid. That's what it sounded like.
Well, whatever. You know what? Let's take your stupid Siri. Let's put your stupid Siri.
I don't have to do stupid Siri. I'll just do this. I go to the game.
Uh-huh.
And then I look at it. And then it says forecast down here. And it's supposed to be in the 60s clear.
Nah. Oh, well.
So it's not going to be like
it's not going to be the frozen tundra.
That classic 49ers-Packers championship game where Brett Favre beat them in the rain. It's going to be comfortable.
Well, good for them. Good for them. But yes, I'm picking the Packers as well. I will go and kind of give the same. You saw with the 49ers this past week, the little bit of an experience that they have on that offensive side. I think Rodgers is a big game. He's the bad man, like you said, and he's got a team around him, and he doesn't have to be. They don't have to rely on his arm. They've got Aaron Jones,
and I think they'll get him more involved than they did last game.
Yep.
And I don't know, man.
Adams
was coming off injury too. He wasn't Adams.
Oh, well.
He got that fine. How stupid that was.
I'm telling you right now, if indeed my Super Bowl dream comes true, next week's podcast, I'm going to be happy. I'm going to be like Stephen A. Smith. Without sounding like Steve. You do the Stephen A. Smith voice. I don't do that voice at all.
Wearing your cowboy hat.
Yeah, with my cigar.
Yeah.
And all that. But that's actually all I have for this week in terms of the sports talk. Brandon, got anything else for the listening audience?
Nope.
Usually, what do you look forward to this weekend? We already know that.
We already know.
So, all right, we'll go ahead. We will time it and wrap it up there and say thank you very much for listening in to us this week on the divisional week into the conference championship week. It's late. I'm talking. My throat is so dry. I'm freaking tired right now.
Yeah,
by the way,
here.
For all of you here that have supported us and continue to support us by your generous donations by PayPal or listening to us start to finish with including the commercials, please continue to do that. Shopgear.com, once again, does not work. It's going to eventually reroute back to our Teespring store, and we're going to put a major emphasis on branded merchandise this year. So long, Amazon, you suck. So with all that being said, Brandon, next week, my man, you in?
I'm in.
All right, sounds good. Good day to you, sir.
Good day to you.
So long, everybody. Good night now, Flava Flav. Since we're live, I could just push the button and make you say, yeah, boy! Hang on, one more thing before you go. Remember, listen to our sponsors following this podcast, as that does help this podcast and this network out in a way that we appreciate very, very much. So if you could just ride it out 30 to 60 more seconds after this podcast is over, listen to those commercials, it would be doing us a very, very big solid. And again, we thank you.
This has been a presentation of the Gear Radio Network. For more, log on to gearnetwork.com.